We say the Rangers offense has arrived. We mean arrived. Another 16-run outburst for the Rangers. Wow, what a series as Texas takes 2 of 3 in Minnesota. We talk about it next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. First time they've done that all season. In fact, they only did it once all of last season, too. So it's just the second time since they won every road game during that World Series run that the Rangers have won back-to-back series on the road. Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan, Jeff Wilson. We've got more producers in this place than you can possibly imagine. Ryan taking care of the business. The Prophet's here just because he's a Ranger guy and he likes to hang out with us. And the Queen is in the house, too, although I think she's got to head home. But we're glad to have you, Mista. You know what I really like? The chat's already going. And here's what I like. There's already a all caps, let's go Rangers in reference to the homestand. But the point is, any let's go Rangers we've seen for about the first 65, 70 games, wherever we're at, Jeff, most of them have all been like, let's go, Rangers. This is let's go, Rangers. So nice to see. Nice way to end a series, rather a road trip, Jeff, that started abysmally.
It started terribly, and if you want to kind of look at this from 30,000 feet, you could say that the Rangers, who still had a losing road trip at 4-5, should have gone 6-3.
Yes,
you could really say that.
Yes.
And, if not for some mental mistakes there in Tampa. But the runs, I think, what everybody's going to be talking about, because the offense, not good the first game at Tampa, then decent enough. Could have won a couple ball games.
Yes.
Bad the opener at Washington, then good enough to win a couple ball games, and then really good in Minnesota. And man, the crazy thing from Monday night's game, I remember from the broadcast saying that the Rangers had never scored in double digits at that ballpark. Now they've done it twice in 3 games and 16 runs each time.
Yeah, and that was the thing. It was, not shocking that they got to 16, but they got to 13, and you felt like, everybody's going to mail it in. Well, then for the second time in 3 games, the Twins go with a position player, the same guy, Jonah Bride, as a pitcher, and the Rangers did what Wash always suggested you do, Jeff, which is take advantage of those guys.
Get yours while you can. And Sam Haggerty got his. He hit a 3-run homer there. That was the 6th Rangers homer of the game. The first was on the game's second pitch by Josh Smith, which I conveniently forgot in a tweet. And then Jake Berger, Wyatt Langford, somebody else. Dlls, but there was another one.
Sam Haggerty, I got them all.
I don't know. There's so many.
Evan Carter.
So many you can't
Evans?
keep track of.
Evans was
Evan Carter
shot.
So that's that'll do. But also it wasn't all home runs. There were a lot of timely 2-out hits. That 2-out rally that really kind of got the game totally out of reach. So hits with runners in scoring position. Imagine that.
How about that?
Good, just good, solid offense.
That was the exact word I was going to use. Solid baseball. And again, when you can supplement solid baseball with that long ball like the Rangers did today, it's great. But here's the thing. This game, as much offense as there was, as much fun as it was to watch this team score 16 runs on 16 hits, by the way, which I think is a season high, this game all boiled down to a spot in the second inning, Jeff, when after getting 3 outs, right, 3 outs to start the game, but a rough first inning and a run allowed in the first inning by Patrick Corbin. He loads the bases. The bottom 3 in the order go single, walk, single. So at that point, he's allowed 3 hits and 3 walks and only gotten 3 outs. Right? And you're thinking, dang it, here comes that pitching correcting itself, which we've feared. And suddenly they're going to be, again, not terrible, but not as good as they've been. And I'll be danged if Patrick Corbin didn't then just mow through Byron Buxton, who's about
that was a huge out.
Hottest hitter in baseball.
Yeah.
And he gets him to pop up. It's an infield fly rule. Pop out to second base. He strikes out Ryan Jeffers. And then Carlos Correa is no slouch. And in fact, he had the single to score the run in the first inning, and he gets Correa to pop out. So an unbelievable stretch. He then went and retired 12 in a row, Jeff. I mean, he was just, they always talk about, a pitcher, you better get to him early because if you don't, he's going to get into a rhythm. That's exactly what Patrick Corbin did there.
Yeah, and, again, the Patrick Corbin story remains a remarkable one.
It's a great story.
He finally gave up more than 2 runs in a start, although he was in the dugout when it happened.
Yeah, and he's still only at 3. He gave up 3 today.
3 or fewer in
so
all
that's
of his
12
starts.
Yeah,
which is fantastic.
12 with 3 and
who would not take that from their starting pitcher? Everybody would take that.
Yeah, and there you see. He went 5 plus 3 hitters.
Yeah.
He didn't get anybody out in the 6th inning, but that was okay. I mean, he did his job and then some today.
Yeah, and but again, it was 6-1 in the second inning when the Twins loaded the bases. You're thinking, gosh, this isn't going to hold up. And then all of a sudden, boom, Patrick Corbin's out of it, and the Rangers just keep piling on. So great job by him, and I'll be interested to hear the reaction to that inning because it really, things like that help the offense too.
They do.
They get everybody excited. And for that to have happened was pretty neat, I think.
I do too. And then for him to have, because then the Rangers didn't do much in their next half, right? What did they do? They didn't score anything. They had a double from Josh Young there, but then he came right back out and he had a shutdown inning, which is exactly what he needed at that point.
Yeah, and it's just remarkable.
It is.
It's just that's the best way to say it. That is remarkable what he's done, and it's and now the offense is kind of matching the pitching here,
right?
And that's what everybody's been waiting for. Everybody.
Yep.
Mista, Tyler, Leon, Jeremy, all those guys in the chat.
Jim Rockford,
Chris Young.
Yeah.
They've all been waiting for it.
Yeah, Boach.
And now that it's, again, we say it's here. We need to see it for a couple weeks.
We do.
And let's say if they play 10 games over the next, 12 games over the next 12. How about 12 games over the next 2 weeks? Let's say the offense is good in 8 of them.
Yeah,
that's good.
Now
you're cooking with gas. That's
that's
pretty consistent offense.
Yep. Then you think this is sustainable. And the nice thing is they're just getting production from up and down the lineup. And that's really what you need. And that's always what we thought that this lineup could do. Again, Adolis Garcia had the home run, the big one, the 3-run bomb, and that's from the 8th spot. And Dolly had a couple of other nice he walked in the 2nd inning. He walked in the 5th inning. And then he had the home run, of course, in the 6th inning. So really good production, right? Getting on base, not chasing. I think both of his walks were on 3-2 pitches, and the Rangers were terrible at chasing those 3-2 pitches, like second worst in all of Major League Baseball. So he didn't chase either. Now, one of them, there was no way to chase. It dang near hit him in the head.
Right.
But he didn't chase the other one. He let an outside pitch go. And that was really good to see. That's progress, right? That's a step in the right direction. That's a little bit more of an advanced approach at the plate, and that's really good. The other thing about Patrick Corbin's start, he had gone, Jeff, 16 2/3 innings in a row without the Rangers scoring a run for him, including an 8-inning complete game shutout. Not shutout. The Rangers were shut out,
right?
And he only allowed 2 runs. He should have been allowed to win that game. But anyway, he won a complete game against the Nationals last Friday night, and they didn't score for him. Jeff, 16 2/3 with nothing. 16 today.
Yeah, and all the Rangers pitchers can stake a claim to saying, "Oh God, this team isn't scoring for us." But and Tyler Mahle had kind of had the same experience.
Yeah.
Going into his start on Monday. So again, and we've been saying all along, if this team starts to score, the pitching can regress a little bit, and this team's still going to be very, very good if the pitching maintains and this offense is consistent the rest of the way. Then you're talking about a good team here, and a team that by the All-Star break should have established itself in the minds of the front office as a contender. And then you get into the maybe buying mode at the trade deadline. You also have some guys who are getting ready to get healthy. Cody Bradford, Spores, and Gray. It's just things are everything feels like it's trending upward for the Rangers right now.
It really does, and it's really nice to see, as we said, the sharing of the load offensively, right? The Rangers are absolutely, just spreading the offense out, and frankly, to be honest, right now, they're kind of doing it without Corey Seager.
Yeah,
Jeff, right? He's just not quite back yet. Now, he doesn't like DH days. So,
right.
I don't know if that has anything to do with his mindset. He's one of those guys that just doesn't feel like he's into the flow of the game if he's not playing the field as well. But he was one of a few guys that didn't provide much offense today.
No, but what did he do? He walked twice.
Yeah,
all right. So the pitchers are not just throwing him cookies. They are aware of who Corey Seager is and what his abilities are. And taking a walk is, again, John, passing the baton. It's getting on base and giving the guy behind you a chance. And who's behind him right now? Marcus Semien.
Yeah.
Who's behind Marcus Semien? Evan Carter.
Yeah.
And who's behind Evan Carter? Jake Berger. And so, again, it works when guys are hitting. And so, yeah, Corey Seager should take his walks. Absolutely, positively. And if the other guys start showing up consistently, then you got to, then the team has to make a decision. Do we pitch delicately to this guy, Seager, or do we, take our chances with him? Because gosh, Simeon's so good. It's the makings of something very good.
It really is, and this is kind of what we said when you're getting that kind of production down at the bottom of the order, where Adolis Garcia scored a run and drove in 3. Even Kyle Higashioka, of course, who had the 5 hits the other night, but he had a single and he scored a run. So and then Josh Young, unbelievably, in the 7th spot, and he had a couple of hits and a walk in the game. And scored a run. So there's a lot to like when that can be the bottom of your order, right? And again,
100%.
Jonah Heim wasn't in there today, day game after a night game. Offensively this year, Jonah Heim's been better than Kyle Higashioka, significantly better.
He has been, but Higashioka had a nice series and a big hit today.
6 hits, yeah.
He had a big hit today early on to pad the lead, and the Twins pitcher Bailey Ober, who's 6'9". Apparently his fastball velocity had been down coming into the start, and he didn't throw any fastballs. He just threw changeups and sliders.
Weird.
And so, and they kept him in the game way too long.
They made him wear this one. There's no doubt. We kept looking at each other like, what's that poor cat doing out there still? Mike Bassick had a stat out of his first 36 or 37 pitches. He'd only thrown 6 or 7 fastballs.
Right.
This is what you do. He's a high fastball guy. I mean, his fastball velocity is only 92, 93, which has got to be surprising, too, for a hitter when the guy's 6'9", right?
Right.
You think oh, man, this guy's going to overpower me. No, not so much.
Well, Chris Young didn't throw hard.
No.
Everybody thinks, this guy's 6'9", 6'10". He's going to throw like Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
That's not the case. Randy had something special going on in addition to his height. But, that still doesn't mean they're not effective. They still have the reach advantage, so it's going to look like it's getting on you sooner. And, I would imagine that seeing a 6'10" guy on a mound, making him even taller, is intimidating. And Ober has been good this year, but I think that fastball velocity is a concern, and they're injury ravaged now in their rotation, the Twins. So, they need to keep him upright too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So maybe that's one of the reasons they used a position player for 2 innings in this game. We got more coming up as we continue to wrap this one up. Rangers win this game 16-3 as opposed to Tuesday night when they won 16-4. So 2 pretty good games, 2 pretty good offensive wins in the series. They're headed home. We talk about that coming up. Also, lots more on today's game as we continue with the DLLS Rangers podcast.
The Rangers are headed back to town. They're coming home tonight, play this weekend against the White Sox, and a day off. And then they play the Royals.
Yep.
So a fun series ahead. And if you don't have tickets and you want tickets, you should check out the Game Time app. Game Time is our favorite app for the secondary market. And the reason is, well, there are a couple of reasons. One, you can click on the seat that you're considering buying and get a view of what you'll be seeing from your seat. The second one is that it's all in pricing and there's no tricks. So we really like that. I don't like being tricked when I hit the fees. Hate the fees. But of course, you can get all kinds of stuff with the Game Time app, concerts and comedy shows, theater, all things that require a ticket. You can pretty much get with the Game Time app. So download the app. First purchase, if you use the code DLS, you'll get $20 off.
Yep, we'd appreciate you doing that. You can get a Rangers ticket for $28, I saw, for the White Sox series. So it's a pretty good price. Hey, one thing you won't need at Globe Life, well, you'll need it on the way to, and certainly to and fro on Sunday. You won't need your sunglasses inside there because I promise you that roof ain't coming open again. Not until September sometime. Maybe not until October. We'll see. But you'll need those shady rays to and fro because there'll be sunny days, there'll be hot days, and you'll be so glad you're in the air conditioning of Globe Life Field. You'll also be so glad you got those shady rays. If you do bring them in and you leave them in your seat or the cup holder accidentally, no problem. They will replace them. It's unbelievable. You lose your sunglasses. You screw up and lose them, Shady Rays will replace them. So it's one of the reasons we love Shady Rays. Go to ShadyRays.com, use the code DLLS, and get 35% off. Oh, it is time now.
Oh, boy.
For our Frosty Take. How about a little Frosty Take? Let's go back to what Jeff had to say just before Patrick Corbin started his first game of the season for the Rangers. Fun to see, or will it be? Jeff's going to throw water on this. Fun to see Patrick Corbin take the mound tonight and see what he's got.
Here we go. The last 5 seasons, he has led the league in most hits allowed. Okay, so that's not good. 3 times most runs allowed, also not good. 3 times most losses, not good. No, but what that indicates is that he's on the mound a lot.
Yeah.
That
is good. It was amazing that back then we didn't even have color.
Oh, my God.
That's how long ago that was. I didn't realize we didn't have color cameras back then. But you never know. You know how you look at the old video like that, and it looks so strange and grainy. Anyway, that take probably didn't have the best shelf life. He had a bad first inning that game, didn't he?
He gave up 4 runs that game, but there were some errors behind him, and it was cold as heck.
Yeah, it was a bad day in Chicago.
He was out there battling, so everybody was like, "Oh, hey, that wasn't terrible." And then it's like, "Holy crap, this guy's really, really
ever
good."
Since the guy's been great, and I do appreciate Leon suggesting he's already enjoying a Frosty.
Attaboy.
That is the power of advertising there. So that's our Frosty take today for this game. Patrick Corbin, way better. Really, again, I've said it a couple of times. Not just better than Jeff thought or I thought or you thought. Better than anybody in Major League Baseball thought. I mean, the dude sat in Florida throwing a ball against his garage wall all spring, right?
Yeah.
He had nobody to play with. And then suddenly at the end of spring training, because of the injuries, the Rangers needed somebody, and they called him. So one of the best calls they've made all year, no doubt about that. So it's interesting because they finished this road trip 4-5, a losing record on the road trip. But sort of the last take of the broadcast with Mike and Dave Raymond was, it's very positive road trip, and ultimately back-to-back series wins, and certainly, like you said, Jeff, they had a chance to maybe make this a 6-3 road trip without a couple of brain farts in Tampa. I think you have a lot of reason to feel positive about this longest trip of the year thus far.
Yes, I think any road success, even a 4-5 overall trip, is a positive. Now, if you throw out that first series, it's a 4-2 road trip with 2 series wins, and it's about winning series. They have to turn it around on the road. All right, they're just abysmal on the road, and you can't be a contender if you can't win on the road. So they have turned a corner, you hope. The next road trip is to Pittsburgh and to Baltimore. They're not good.
No.
All right, there's a chance for that next trip to be very profitable, even if they had to face Paul Skeens. This homestand with the White Sox, all right, and then the Royals, who are offensively challenged.
They are.
They're also dealing with an injury or two in their rotation, namely Cole Reagans. There's just opportunity straight ahead of the Rangers, but again, they've been fine at home. I mean, they've won games. The offense hasn't been fine, but there's a definite opportunity, I think, here for the Rangers to kind of get on a little run and build some momentum. Take that momentum if they are able to build some this week at home off of this road trip. Take that back on the road next time. I mean, there's just some things that are coming together. But again, it starts with the offense.
It absolutely does, and when I don't know that you can underestimate like how good it must have felt for the whole team to have Josh Smith hit the second pitch out of the yard. Right. I mean, that kind of a start, it just seems to immediately allow everybody to exhale, even when you turn around and give up a run in the bottom of the first inning. The Rangers came right back with that big second inning, and I think that was then you're up 6-1, and it's like, oh my gosh, not only one exhale, but we can actually breathe. We've got a little breathing room here.
Yeah, and going back to that second inning, even if Byron Buxton hits a home run, the Rangers are still ahead.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to pitch with cushion. It's nice to pitch with margin for error. You don't have to be perfect when you are up. He started the sixth inning up 13-1.
Yeah.
And he ended up not finishing the inning or getting an out, but nevertheless, he was able to go back out there and all right, some runs scored after he left the game. It's 13-3, big deal. It just has to be. It has to be a breath of fresh air for all the pitchers to be able to pitch without having to be like, if I make a mistake, we lose the game.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. And it's been like that every inning, virtually every inning for such a long stretch was a high leverage inning, right? Because when it's a one-run game, either way, when you're up one or down one, every pitch matters, and not quite as bad in a situation like this. Jeff and I talked about it. Neither one of us are big fans of using Ezekiel Duran as the position player to pitch. I never remember in the time I've covered the Rangers. This doesn't mean it didn't happen, and we can find it, and some of you, if Sue's on there or Leon, might be able to look this up. I don't ever remember a Rangers position player pitching in a game they were blowing the other team out.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times managers don't like to do it. And I think if the Rangers had a day off tomorrow and weren't facing a potential bullpen game, then somebody's going to pitch the ninth who isn't a position player. But the situation that they're in, the Rangers are planning to not start Jacob deGrom tomorrow, but rather have a bullpen game. And so they need, as many arms as they could get. That's probably why Corbin was pushed a little bit. But, the rest of the crew was only used for an inning. The next three guys, Milner, Cole Winn, and then Chris Martin, who hadn't worked for a while and who looked pretty good.
He did. He really
did. And needed some work. He probably won't pitch tomorrow, but the other two will be available. So the Rangers are going to have a bunch of arms ready to go tomorrow. But using another one might have made things a little hairy. So keep. Let's say it would have been Jacob Webb or Sean Armstrong, probably.
Right.
Keep them fresh. Maybe they can go 1+, maybe 2, and kind of, do the job and get it to the next guy. And then this in turn will put a little pressure on deGrom because deGrom needs to go out there and dominate and go 7 innings. You would hope on Saturday. Because now they're looking at a bullpen game Sunday too, so it's an interesting part of the season, I guess you could say, an unexpected twist with Eovaldi not coming back off the injured list. It would appear until I would say at least Pittsburgh, maybe Kansas City, depending on if he throws a bullpen, which is expected this weekend. Would that be enough? I don't think they send Eovaldi on rehab starts.
I wouldn't think so.
He wants to use his bullets in a major league game, so he may not have a bunch of them his first couple times off the IL, but rather use them in the majors than in the minors. But anyway, not having him, not feeling great about Dane Dunning down there at AAA. Although Dane's pitched well of late, he's got his ERA under 5 in a pitcher's league. So it kind of seems like they want to go that way with the bullpen game. Just with the roster, the 40-man roster being full, of course you could create a spot real fast with Garrison Garabito. But
that's going to be a frosty hot take or what frosty take here.
I'm frosty about it.
Yeah.
He's going to lose his 40-man spot at some point in the next month. They've got to get 3 guys off the 60. He cannot survive it. I just can't see him surviving it unless it's a really bad situation, like more 60-day injuries, which at this point the Rangers do not want. I mean, I don't know if they ever want it, but anyway, I'm off track here. Bullpen game. And they did fine today, got through it fine, and should be fine tomorrow. And if deGrom does his job Saturday, they'll be fine Sunday.
And Mike and Dave were talking about the possible necessity of calling someone up, which, again, like you say, is somewhat easier said than done at this point. That said, I get what they're saying. You'd like somebody to give you a little bit more length on one of those 2 days. I mean, 2 bullpen days, and maybe it depends. Yeah. You do the bullpen day tomorrow. Just let's say, for whatever reason, Jacob deGrom doesn't go 6 or 7 or 8 innings, right? Now all of a sudden you've taxed the bullpen on Saturday too, and now you're going to do a bullpen day on Sunday? I mean, I'm not sure there's enough arms for that.
Well, there are some optional guys, and I do wonder if Jake Latz, who had that cut on his finger from his bullpen start Sunday at Washington, and then he came back and pitched in yesterday's game
last night,
and wasn't terribly effective. That's kind of when the game got away from the Rangers. Maybe they can use that as their excuse to get him on the injured list. On the 40-man. Right now, you have at AAA, you have Mark Church, you have Luis Crivello, and that's, I think that's it. Well, Gerson Garabito, Cody Hauer is now he's on the 40.
Okay,
as I recall.
Yeah.
So there's a potential DFA if you wanted to, bring have Dunning make a start, or you just bring him up because he's a fresh arm.
Right.
There's that too.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I'm sure they'll figure out a way and have thought of a way, plotted out a plan to do this. Bosley pitched an inning yesterday. Maybe that was like a little mini bullpen session, just getting him up and ready to pitch. Maybe he starts today's game. I don't remember the White Sox lineup. I don't know. Their most veteran hitter has been Atiende, who's left-handed. Luis Robert bats right-handed, so I don't think it would matter a righty or a lefty against the White Sox. But I think maybe Bosley will be the guy.
Yeah, okay. We'll be keeping an eye on that, and we'll continue to talk about the upcoming homestand, finish up the final thoughts about the recently completed road trip, and we'll, of course, get to the other things happening around the world of baseball. That's all coming up. It's on the DLLS Rangers podcast. But first, where are we going, Jeff? To LinkedIn.
Well, LinkedIn is an app for job seekers, but also people who need employees, and that's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. If you go to you can post your first free job listing at linkedin.com/Rangers. You find quality employees. That's the thing. The people on LinkedIn are hungry for employment, and they have a resume, they have a track record, and they want a job, and they're going to be good at it. And LinkedIn is going to help you narrow down the candidates. It's on the web. It never closes. You're not calling a temp agency. You're calling somebody where you can constantly be seeking resumes, contacting prospective employees. And again, you can list your first job for free at linkedin.com/Rangers.
That'd be a great call for you to make. Another one would be for you to get yourself one of these Rugged Road coolers. It's not sitting by us right now. I think it's been put to good use over the course of the last few days, few weeks around here, as we've had some various things to celebrate as we continue to grow and get better. And when we put cold drinks in there of any kind, and that ice will keep them cold for about 7 days in there. They are a fantastic cooler. They're so well made. They're light. That's the greatest thing. You don't need wheels on this particular cooler because you can carry it easily no matter what you put inside of it. And if you do decide you want to take it fishing or just have it float with you in the pool or take it out there on the river when you're floating, it floats. It floats. So it's a fantastic cooler. We can't say enough good things about Rugged Road. We encourage you to go to ruggedroad.com. Use the code DLLS. You get 10% off your Rugged Road cooler. Okay, so it's this homestand that we've alluded to and mentioned a couple of times with the Chicago White Sox. Now, the first thing you do think, Jeff, is obviously this is a major league team, right? And you can't, read your own press clippings, if you will, right? Or rest on the laurels of 2 16-run games in Minnesota, thinking that this is a bad team, which it is. But we know, Bruce Bochy is not going to, and he probably might not even have to say anything. These guys have to be focused on this team on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Well, it was less than a month ago when the Rangers went to the White Sox and almost got their butts swept.
They almost got swept. That's right.
Memorial Day weekend, if it hadn't been for Dlls Garcia big double there in the ninth, the Rangers would have gone home with their tail between their legs, and they might have done that anyway. So they I don't think they will take this team lightly. They respect them and will not fart around with them. And, the old saying is, well, they practice too and all that. And they do. They do. They're overmatched. The Rangers roster is just better. But you never know what's going to happen in a baseball game. So the Rangers need to, be prepared and go out there and perform.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. And take advantage of their home field advantage and then try to ride it into a series against this Kansas City team who, as you mentioned, Jeff, have some injury issues going and who are offensively challenged. Their run differential is one of the real negative ones. They've got a positive record, a winning record, but their run differential is very much in the negative.
It is, and I mean, yeah, they're young players who are learning the game. Probably in a perfect world would not be in the major leagues, but this is the path the White Sox have selected. They've rebuilt their farm system. A lot of them who started the year in the minors are now in the majors, the latest being the catcher Kyle Teal, who came over from the Red Sox. So they have some nice young talent. But again, the Rangers should win this series at minimum, you know, and a 3-game sweep, would be really, really handy. And but again, they can't count the chickens before the eggs are hatched. They have to go out and play, and they again will be mindful of what happened to them 3 weeks ago in Chicago.
Yeah, and look, Leon points out they have a functional manager now, and I would say, again, this is a guy that we root for, and so I mean, Will Venable is more than functional, right? I mean, I think he is absolutely doing the most, or at least as much as you can, with what he's been given, Jeff.
Yeah, and they are better since last year. And so that's, it's hard to be any worse. And though the Rockies are giving it a go.
They figured it out.
But and we like Will so much and respect the way he goes about the game and the business. And you got to be a patient man knowing what you're stepping into. And but he liked the area. Chicago, he'd spent some time there as a player, so he liked the area and just felt like it was a good spot for him. And they might have some ownership changes coming up in a few years, so if he can develop this talent into a group that looks like might be worth spending some money on, then maybe the new ownership would do that. And I just you feel good that the White Sox are better, but if you're the Rangers, there's an opportunity here.
Yeah, they're not better enough, or
they're not right. They're not even close to 500. Okay, it's not like we're not talking about the 05 White Sox here. We're talking about a crummy team, has talent, practices, blah blah blah, great manager, all that stuff. But still, the Rangers don't win this series. They will really be kicking themselves.
Yeah, and they are, Leon, the Vatican's favorite professional team right now, too. And there was a video on the social medias today where a White Sox fan couple, it looked like they had maybe just been married or perhaps just renewed their wedding vows. They were celebrating some sort of nuptials in Rome, and the Pope happened upon them, and they had White Sox hats.
Oh.
And they gave him one. And at this time, the Pope was wearing more of one of the smaller caps that he wears. It's more like a yarmulke. And he took it off, and he put the White Sox cap on, and he took pictures with the happy couple.
That's great. That's a great photo for the White. That needs to be hanging in that ballpark somewhere.
It's so true. Yeah, and Ryan, see if you can find the photo of the Pope in a White Sox hat, because I saw it on a couple of socials this weekend. If you can, we'll show it if we can. But that's a pretty cool fan to have,
right?
The Pope. But anyway, that doesn't necessarily, as their record indicates, I don't think he spends a lot of time praying that the White Sox will win.
Well, he's new on the job.
Yeah, true, and he's got more important things.
He's got some more things. He's getting his feet wet before he can start cheering baseball teams.
Before he starts worrying about teams, but. Anyway, then after that, and I heard Mike and Dave talking about this, and Mike, of course, remembers going to the old Arlington Stadium. He has faint memories of his dad pitching there, but stronger memories from later. In any event, he always wanted to know who the opponent was when he had the chance. Again, grew up with a dad who played. They could go to probably pretty much any game they ever wanted. Yeah. Even after Mike Sr. retired. But he was like, I'll think about going tonight, Dad. Who we playing, right? And the reality is, when there's a player like Bobby Witt Jr., in the lineup, it's worth going.
Absolutely.
You know?
And now Jack Caglione is up.
Caglione.
Wyatt Langford's college teammate at Florida, the guy who hits the ball a mile and hits it really, really hard. It's unfortunate that Cole Reagans is going to be hurt because I'm a big Cole Reagans fan. But this is a Royals team that, unlike the Rangers, has found a way to keep its head above water record-wise, even though its offense was so bad. I mean, that's why Caglione is in the majors, because the offense was terrible. Their second baseman, Massey, just was 2 weeks ago when I did my look at who are the worst offensive players in the majors. The only one worse than Marcus Semien was Michael Massey. Franco at third base isn't a great player, but they figured out a way to score enough runs, and then to prevent runs. Chris Bubik, a left-hander who I just remember him from spring training games, getting lit up and for years.
Yeah,
like this guy's in the majors, and now he was the pitcher of the month for May.
Unbelievable.
So, they have some reclamation projects because Seth Lugo, last year people signed the Royals signed him, and they're kind of like, I don't know about this one, and he went out and was, I think he might have finished second in the Cy Young vote. So they're figuring it out. And it's not going to be easy. Of course, they have Salvador Perez and, as you mentioned, Bobby Witt, one of the 5 best players in the game.
And have you looked ahead enough to see if the Rangers are going to miss Bubik?
I have not looked far enough ahead.
I haven't either. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll check on that for you and let you know. But that's especially since he's left-handed. That's a anthrax kind of a guy for any major league team this year, but certainly for the Rangers too. So something to worry about, I suppose, and think about as you get ready to go home and play this 6-game homestand. They do have the off day on Monday, and we mentioned, if you missed it earlier, that Jacob deGrom has been pushed back to Saturday from Friday. Bullpen day Friday. Right now, TBA, which could mean bullpen day Sunday. Was this move another one, a sort of a nod to Jacob's recovery, or was it because you certainly couldn't have 2 bullpen days back to back?
Yeah, I think it's more of the latter. With Evaldi, when they went on the road trip, they were expecting Evaldi to be available for this game
for Saturday. Yeah,
and he's not. So you got to juggle some things, and if 2 bullpen games is the way you want to go, and if it gets deGrom an extra day of rest, though I don't think that's the issue here. I think the priority was trying to juggle this weekend with 2 bullpen games, because in theory, we kind of broke it down. Today they got by really well with the bullpen in good shape, so tomorrow shouldn't be a problem. You would expect that Jacob deGrom on Saturday against the offensively challenged White Sox will have a field day and hopefully be efficient like he was against the Nationals and get through 7 innings on 80-some pitches. Maybe they push him to 8, and then you have the bullpen game Sunday, which is followed by an off day. So it kind of sets up, you're going bullpen day, off bullpen day with deGrom, bullpen day, and then off day for the team. And then hopefully by then for sure when Evaldi will be back. You'll have all your starters with on full rest for that Royals series with, I would assume the order would be, as it shook out, Malley, Leiter, Corbin for the Twins series. And then hopefully when you hit the road, if Evaldi's available, then you could go Evaldi deGrom, or you can go deGrom Evaldi, whatever it takes. And then if Evaldi continues to languish with what, again, I've been told is a nerve issue more so than a triceps issue, but if he can overcome it, then at that point you probably got to go get a starter.
Yeah, you at some point you have to, and the Rangers have done a great job. Bruce Bochy has done a great job. Mike Maddox done a great job. And look, the last bullpen game turned out great.
Yeah, no complaints with it. And,
no.
Latz was able to get you into the 4th, gave up 2 runs. It was a tie game when he left, but the offense came through and the bullpen didn't allow anything else. So, if If Caleb Bosley can do something similar, that would be great. But I would suspect that I don't know if they're having a bullpen game on Sunday. I would bet that they try to stay away from Latz,
Yes,
as much as they can. Or if Latz is the choice tomorrow, they try to stay away from Bosley.
Yeah.
But I would think because Latz pitched Wednesday so did Bosley, but Bosley seemed to have a lot easier go of it, and hasn't pitched as many innings as Latz here the last week. So look for. I don't know if it's been announced. Maybe it has been, but I would go with Bosley as the starter tomorrow.
Yeah, I haven't seen it come down yet, but that's something that usually they wait till after the game, of course, to see exactly who pitched when and how much in the game today, so they can know what's happening tomorrow. More coming up. It's cleanup time. We'll clean things up. I have sent that pick over to Ryan, so I think we're going to show you that. We're also going to talk about something special that a couple of former Rangers are a part of. So it's all coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And for the first time in a few days, we're going to remind you about the merchandise that's available to you from us. That's because we like you so much. All you got to do is go to store.allcitynetwork.com, and you can get any one of the fabulous shirts that are available. We will say you might want to wait a week or two. Soon, very soon, a batch of new design shirts are going to come out, one of which is very much, one of which is a legendary moment in Rangers history. So just keep that in mind. I think you're going to like that one. In the meantime, you could go there, though, get any of the ones that you see us modeling on a daily basis. Jeff's always cold, so he's sitting here with a hoodie on today. Abs was up there watching with us, too. It was like old home week with Abs and Elijah and Jeff and me sitting up there, and Abs and Jeff are the only two that are in sweatshirts in this place. But it's all good. They get cold. Store.allcitynetwork.com is the place to go to get your merchandise.
It is, and you will get a free T-shirt, when you become a diehard, which, again, I know Leon has. I think there are a couple others in the chat who have. Everybody should be. Every sports fan in DFW who likes to read and be informed about the professional sports teams in the Metroplex should absolutely scrape together $650 a month. That's $79.99 a year, and become a diehard. You can do it by going to alldls.com/join, or by scanning that handy QR code on the screen if you guys are watching on the YouTube. 20% off, which means you get 20% off to the Cowboys trip to Las Vegas. So many reasons to be a diehard, so go ahead and do that today. Good Father's Day gift.
Oh, great point. Father's Day coming up this Sunday. Don't forget. I was talking to my wife about that the other day, and she said, men don't plan, which was sort of painting with a broad brush. But she's kind of right, I think, about the Father's Day, the Mother's Day, the birthday. I'm always that guy in there on Valentine's Day or Mother's Day. There's like 4 cards left. There's me and a bunch of other sorry, sad suckers sitting at the card line, or the card section at 7-Eleven at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, because I'm coming home from a Rangers game and I've forgotten that tomorrow is Mother's Day, sort of thing. So anyway, look, you're 2 days ahead of Father's Day. So do something nice for your dad. Buy the diehard membership for him. All right, so let's clean some of this stuff up. Ryan, did you get that pic I sent you in the Slack? Let's see if we can show the Pope and his favorite team. We're working on it, but this is Pope Leo, the newly named head. There he is. Look at that. Just doffing the cap just a little bit. And like I say, in the video, he took off the hat that he was wearing and quickly put on that and had a nice conversation with a couple of White Sox fans. There you go. That's you talk about the first family or whatever in America. There's your first White Sox fan right there.
Yeah, number one. doesn't get any higher unless the big guy upstairs is also a
maybe
White Sox fan.
Maybe he is. We don't know.
I don't think he'd do that to the White Sox unless this is like the biblical torture.
Yeah, you get plagues and things like that. Yeah, you do. It happens. It happens. So, all right. So there's Pope Leo. How about what Adrian Beltre and Cole Hamels are doing with their friend?
Oh, that's awesome.
With their friend Shin-Soo Choo.
Just fantastic. They've gone over, the former Rangers have gone over with Choo to Korea to speak to players in KBO and spread their wisdom, spread the word of baseball. Choo is probably the best guy around. Just a wonderful guy, and he wants to help Korean players and their minor leaguers and do all those things. And he just happened to be have the same agent as Adrian, Scott Boras. So they were friendly through that connection initially, and then as teammates with the Rangers. So Choo was able to coax Adrian onto a long flight. And then Cole Hamels, the former Rangers player, still lives in Southlake.
Yep.
Not doing anything else right now. And so you get two guys who did it at high levels and were very, very good. And it's just a neat deal. And I'm sure that these players listened, appreciated it, loved Choo for doing that for them. But it's just another reminder that these are good people too, and Choo being great, Adrian doing a solid for his friend, but also, helping out these young guys.
Yeah, and the message that Adrian delivered was just basically about the work and the dedication that it takes to do this, but that if you don't do those things, right, if you don't put that in, you might miss out the opportunity of a lifetime. Nobody knows that better than an Adrian Beltre, who played baseball professionally for 21 seasons and who, of course, ended his wonderful career as a Hall of Famer. Made hundreds of millions of dollars too. That's the thing. And he too came from a background, right, that wouldn't have necessarily led him to become $100 millionaire.
Right. And it's not easy. That journey, and Adrian went through so many things, including the botched I can't remember, was it an appendix surgery? Appendix removal. They screwed that up, and he was gravely ill and pretty ill. Huh? If it was a lifer, I think it was pretty serious there.
Gravely
for a while, and he had to take grounders with a colostomy bag. Just stuff that tells you how badly he wanted it. And then Hamels, who came up, he lived in San Diego, that's where he was from, and he was so good in the postseason, and that's kind of how he made his mark, and he ended up making a bunch of money. And not that's, you got to love the game, first of all. You can't hate baseball and try to try to fake your way through it.
Yeah.
But there is reward if you're very, very good at professional baseball, and I'm sure that all those players in Korea would like to follow in some of the Korean footsteps, including Choo, and come over to the major leagues and see how good they are. So that's neat. That's neat that Choo would arrange that.
Yeah,
and his friends would agree to do it.
Some of the wonderful things that Choo has done, or maybe foremost among the wonderful things, was during COVID, when the minor league players weren't getting paid at all. And he gave every minor league player in the Rangers organization, of which there are many, he gave them all $1,000. Jeff.
Right. And, at the time he was making a very, very handsome salary. But nevertheless.
Granted.
Nobody else did it.
Right.
You didn't see any other guys making that kind of money do it. And, he would, at spring training, I think I've said this before, one day each year, he would get the local, the kitchen staff would be out at the parking lot with like 4 or 5 grills going all at once, just all kinds of delicious meats being grilled up. He would feed the minor leaguers a quality meal once a spring, just to let them know we thank you, hang in there, because he had it tough. Coming up, he had it tough. So, he's just tremendous, and he's still working for the SSG Landers, his Korea team, as an advisor and somebody who can help with player development, like he's done with Beltran Hamels.
By the way, Adrian did not, and Cole didn't either. Adrian did not speak Korean to the kids. They had a translator there. Adrian actually spoke in Spanish, which is he's still much more comfortable doing, and then they translated that to Korean, and Cole obviously spoke in English to the kids. So really good effort there. Not long ago, I think it was last homestand, and there were some people on social media who were annoyed as they could be by this, but I think some people on social media are annoyed as they can be by everything. But anyway, Emily Jones had that day, she had gone to one of her kids' classes. I think it was her daughter, Hattie's class. And she and the girls were all there teaching her the slang words, not bad ones, just the slang words like bussin' and riz. And riz, I know, is always short for charisma, right? You've got riz. That guy's got riz, right? Okay, bussin' isn't short for anything. It's just you're doing well. You're bussin'. Oh, you're bussin'. Yeah, right? Not bustin', which is what Boach thought. So Emily suggests to Boach, hey, Boach, you ought to say riz or bussin' if somebody does well tonight in the post game. We'd love to see that. Could you do that? He's like, bustin'?
Right.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Bustin'?
It took a couple minutes.
Could you spell it? Anyway, he gets out there. I don't remember who he was praising, but somebody in the post game. Do you remember?
I believe it was Jake Latz.
Jake Latz Jake Latz was out there bussing, wasn't he? Anyway, the payoff to that is on August the 17th, I believe it is, you can get a Baby Blue Rangers August 12th on a Tuesday night. You can get a Baby Blue Rangers bussin' hat. So I think that is Chuck Morgan and his crew and who do the giveaways. They responded so beautifully, quickly, and wonderfully to Boach dropping bussin' on the media.
Yeah, and August 12th is my son's birthday, and it's the day before school starts.
Okay.
So I don't know if Mom will go for letting Henry come to the game.
He'd love that, yeah.
But I bet I can get my hands on a bussin' hat.
You got to get one so he can wear it to school, yeah.
Yeah, the next day.
Yeah, dang right. So I think that's pretty fun. And I'm sure Boach still doesn't even know what the heck it means, or, probably couldn't use it correctly in a sentence again. But he was not understanding it, but he dropped it. And now you can get a hat to commemorate that. So, we appreciate that very, very much. No doubt about it. We've got just a couple of more minutes left on the show. Again, the Rangers win it by a final of 16-3. They've scored 32 runs in just 2 games. I mean, there was some stats going through on Twitter about 33 runs in the last 5 games is the most they've had in any 5 game. 32, because they've scored a lot more since that came through about the 5th inning. 32 in just 2 games. I mean, you can't even imagine, Jeff, how the offense, right? Just like Marcus Simeon's, he was that worst player in baseball.
Yeah.
Not anymore, right? The offense was 29th in all these categories. Probably not anymore.
Yesterday's game wasn't terrible offensively. No, they blew some chances, but they had 7 hits. They had some base runners. And again, Buxton made that great catch to rob Simeon. So I mean, they were shut down after that, but they did, do some stuff. It wasn't like just going up there and flailing like that Blue Jays game where they made 27. They went 0 for 27 after Josh Smith had a hit.
Start the game.
Yeah.
And 0 for 27.
Single, 0 for 27.
Yeah.
So it's been better. And I think that's when they are hopping on the plane, I'm assuming they've already done that or they're about to. They're going to take off. They'll be home in a couple hours. Probably grab dinner. The sun will still be up. See their kids, hug their wives, whatever they're going to do. They're going to feel good about this.
Yep.
and about the offense and the way it's going.
And should. No doubt about it. So next couple of days, we won't be here. Watch for us on YouTube, though, because we've got a couple of things out there that you can check out. In the meantime, we'll be back on Sunday for the final game, the finale of that series against the Chicago White Sox. Hopefully, we're talking about a sweep. We will see you then. Thanks for watching the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.